Alright, don't be mad at the thumbnail just yet, hear me out. So there's a lot of different weapons that people consider to be best in slot for the Barbarian. And then there's a lot of different mercenaries that people like to say are the best. With this particular build, I think that I've brought all the elements from the different items that are the best. So we've got dual grief because this is a Whirlwind Barbarian. Whirlwind takes out all the trash mobs, takes out everything around you, so might as well make the damage as high as we can get it on there, and then threw on a pair of laying of hands just for the sake of getting more damage out of our grief. With that said, we're lacking in the crushing blow department a little bit because we basically only got 50%, which isn't bad, but for killing like really high health pool bosses, something like death, last wish, etc., anything with high crushing blow is actually going to be good to have on one hand. That'll actually give you a faster bail kill or faster ubers. But we're making up for that by having our mercenary handle the higher amount of crushing blow. Between our 50% crushing blow and our high amount of damage, and then our mercenary doing 70% crushing blow on his offhand, I feel like we have all the bases covered in terms of just handling anything that comes our way. Let me go over everything. So dual grief, G-face, could have an IAS enhanced damage on it. This is just the enhanced damage though. High Lords, Enigma, Ravenfrost, Gore Riders, Arachnids, just for the faster teleporting. That goes good with this FCR ring, dual leech. That way I can teleport at the 30 FCR breakpoint without swapping, and then on swap easily over the 105. And then I have just like ridiculous resistance while I'm on swap. These resistances aren't as good as if I had Ariat's face on, but at the same time, this is for PVM, this is just going to give really high damage output. And then we also have Decrepify from our mercenary. He's got Lawbringer, Fortitude, Last Wish, and then Ariat's. So, of course, all of our gear and everything isn't perfect. Here's our skill tree. We don't have perfect gear, but at the same time, I mean, it's as good as it needs to be, honestly. I mean, like, you can of course get better charms, you can get a better Enigma in a better base. I kind of like the way it looks in a wire fleece on the Barbarian personally. I like that, and I like Gothic plate as well. But so there's like, okay, I could have better rolled griefs, I could have a better jewel in here, blah blah blah, but in terms of the actual gameplay of the character, this is perfectly fine in my opinion. I'll just do a quick bail run, and then I'll go do a quick run of I'll just go straight to bail just so I can showcase the I mean, I might as well kill a few enemies on the way just so you can see how strong it is. Like you see right there, that was a champion pack. Sliced through him like butter. Same thing with that one too. I'll sometimes hork like the champion pack corpses if they don't shatter or whatever. Sometimes they shatter because of Ravenfrost, but I mean, I really played this Whirlwind Barbarian more so for the sake of fun. If I really want to play for like the sake of like you know, being efficient, then I'll play as something else. Like I got a couple characters, maybe like my sorceress is probably like my most quote-unquote efficient character, but I also have like a hammered in. Let me know if you want me to make a video showing like talking about my favorite characters or anything like that. I mean, I honestly think I like every character. There's definitely probably at least like a build or two of every class that I prefer over other ones. Like I'm not really like a big fan of Hammerdins, but I mean, I still have one. That was one of the first characters that I made when the game first came out that I was able to use to gear up all my other characters. In between the Hammerdin that was running at first and the sorceress, I wound up getting an Enigma for that Hammerdin from drops that I got from the Hammerdin and the sorceress, and then everything kind of cascaded from there. Once I was able to have Enigma on a Hammerdin, I could just mindlessly run Chaos Sanctuary over and over again until I got runes that I needed for other builds. And then between that and making trades along the way with like rare items and stuff, like I had like a 220 elemental skill circlet or something like that, and it wasn't all that great, and I traded it to somebody for like a 6 battle orders call to arms. Just like little trades like that where I could have held on to the item, but I decided to let it go because the other person clearly wanted that. Things like that along the way I feel like are cool momentum shifts, because it's like that's how I got my first call to arms. And then all these little pieces that come together, like at first I had call to arms and I was swapping it out between my 3 different characters that weren't Barbarian. That's what I like about this game though. You play with one character and it inspires you to gear up another character, do another playthrough. You know, you find some cool items that a low level character could have. You maybe decide to do a playthrough solo with a really geared out low level character. I have fun doing stuff like that, like especially when it was like characters that I had either never played before in the past or that I played like very little with. Getting to experience them and then play them with like the kind of gear that you could hope to drop for you on a playthrough, like having like all the little low level things. I would just save them up in my shared stash in order to be able to make the playthrough with. See, look at this decrep. His health is probably super low already. The mercenary did most of the work that fight. Like that decrep, I think like as good as grief is, the one thing is if like they expanded the game somehow and made an even harder difficulty than Players 8, things like Last Wish with its hit blinds target and all of that, crushing blow, it really like crushing blow becomes increasingly more important as you up the player count. So something like Last Wish and stuff is gonna seem underwhelming on lower player counts, but if you jump into like a full game of cows with dual grief, Players 8, and you try to whirl around some cows, just like compare that to grief and then Last Wish on the other hand, and all the cows are blind and you're taking away like big chunks of their health because of the, like at a certain point the damage of grief stops being as big of a deal and the crushing blow becomes more of a big deal. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.